Sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryan karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama
Hare Ram,
Rama Rama
Rama Hare Hare.
Welcome. How are you?
Go.
Okay. Nice to hear you. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So we continue chapter 12. This chapter is called Devotional Service. By following the process of devotional service, one develops all good qualities and becomes very dear to Krishna. This is the thesis, the pratigya of the chapter. So, by performing devotional service to Krishna, we develop all the good qualities. So, what are some good qualities you can come up with? What are joy? Okay, that means one is happy. What else? Good qualities, virtues.
All the qualities come in the Vaishnava.
Okay, so that means good deeds, performing good deeds. Yes, Bhagavan Narahari Prabhu.
Yeah, like I said,
thank you.
If we see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, Trinada Pishunichana Tarupi Vaishnava,
Okay.
So all those qualities is arise in a Vaishnava.
Okay, humility.
Yeah.
Very good. And then there is a verse from Bhagavatam which explains that by serving Krishna, we develop all the good qualities of the demigods naturally. We don't have to aspire for particularly to develop this or that quality. By serving the Lord, He will give us all the required good qualities. By them, when we have them, then we'll become attractive to Krishna. But they are spiritual, they are not material. Okay, so doesn't mean material intelligence, material being just nice to people. No, these are the spiritual qualities, the inherent nature of the soul. Okay, so by devotional service, we can acquire all these qualities. Then this chapter, the summary of verses 1 through 7. The devotees are higher than the impersonalists because they depend on Krishna's mercy. So this is how the chapter begins. Arjuna is asking, who is higher? Who are higher yogis or transcendentalists? Those who think that God is impersonal, or those who accept that God is a person? So who are higher? Then Krishna explains that those who serve him, the person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are the highest. Then verses 8 through 12, Krishna describes what happens when Krishna explains the different stages of devotional service. Just like when we do some sports, for example, there are different levels of expertise, of abilities. If you play basketball, then the first level is you just kind of manage to go around with the ball. Then the second level is you can actually shoot now. The third level is you can shoot very precisely. Fourth level is you can shoot from the third point line, etc. So there's different levels of experience and expertise and abilities. So in the same way, in the devotional service to Krishna, there's different levels. And Krishna is will explain these levels in verses 8 through 12. And then the last group of verses, from 13th through 20, Krishna explains the auspicious qualities, the good qualities, the virtues that will appear in the heart of a person who serves him with love and affection. All these good qualities, like being very humble, being very honest, working for the benefit of others, being selfless. All these qualities will hear them. Okay, so then we start from verses 1 through 7. The devotees are higher than the impersonalists. So Arjuna inquired, this is the first verse, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport. So somebody has, okay, one moment. We have to admit Mataji Jayarade. Okay. Somebody has Bhagavad-gita in front of him or her?
Yes. Okay. Which chapter? Which text?
Okay, 12th chapter.
Yes. Okay.
Verse 1. And then,
yes.
And then if we read the purport.
Okay.
And so factually, there are two classes of transcendentalists. From there, I would like somebody to read.
Okay. So start with the beginning. Krishna has now.
No, we start from this paragraph. And so, factually, there are two classes of transcendentalists.
Oh, okay. And so, factually, there are two classes of transcendentalists. Now Arjuna is trying to settle the question of which process is easier and which of the classes is most perfect. In other words, he is clarifying his own position because he is attached to the personal form of Krishna. He is not attached to the impersonal Brahman. He wants to know whether his position is secure. The impersonal manifestation, either in this material world or in the spiritual world of the Supreme Lord, is a problem for meditation. Actually, one cannot perfectly conceive of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Therefore, Arjuna wants to say, what is the use of such a waste of time? Arjuna experienced in the 11th chapter that to be attached to the personal form of Krishna is best because he could thus understand all other forms at the same time, and there was no disturbance to his love for Krishna. This important question asked of Krishna by Arjuna will clarify the distinction between the impersonal and personal conceptions of the absolute truth.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
So this is one of the most fundamental discussions in Vedic discourse. Is God personal or he's impersonal or he's both? So we remember, probably can try to remember one of the previous chapters. Maybe Tusi can help us with chapter, but there was very definite statement by Krishna, maybe 7th chapter. Krishna himself very clearly stated, some people think that I, Krishna, used to be, I was impersonal, and then before, and then from this impersonal entity, whatever, emerged Krishna, personality of Krishna. So Krishna clearly stated that this is not proper, because in 7th chapter, Krishna said, Mata parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. There is no truth superior to me. That means Bhagavan Sri Krishna. He's the last word of the absolute truth. He's the highest absolute reality. And the impersonal feature of the Lord is just the effulgence of his transcendental body. So we have experience of a person who is being impersonal, right? For example, if you are upset with somebody, you will probably deal with him, just give him a cold shoulder, huh? Try to pretend that he doesn't exist for a while. So that means you will exhibit your impersonal feature, let's so to say. So he would maybe come over and try to talk to you, but you would be like whatever. So we have this experience, but we never have had an experience that something impersonal will deal in a personal way. Can you think about like what will be the example for this? So in other words, the personality, the personhood is higher than the impersonal manifestation of the personality, because it originates from him. That means the person has taken a conscious decision, I will deal impersonally with this person. But we don't see the other way example. So
yes, Prabhuji, if we see like one day I heard like Prabhupada was traveling somewhere and he saw some samosa in the train station, and one person Prabhupada sent buy some samosa and bring it. So he
Bhagavan Narahari Prabhu
bought it and started praying, like
yes,
doing
sir,
the offer to
you
Prabhupada.
can't hear me properly.
Prabhupada is already sitting right there in the train, and Prabhupada said, "Hey,
Prabhu, we can't hear you properly. We can't hear you, so we couldn't get.
oh, okay. So then go ahead, go ahead.
No,
So
maybe you can
it's
try to
some
repeat.
problem. Okay, fine. On the system.
Now we can hear. Maybe you can try to repeat.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear. Maybe try to say it
Yeah.
again.
So okay, I was telling one of the story. Prabhupada was in the train station and asking a devotee, bring some samosa.
Okay, samosa. We got previous time to take the samosa
and he started offering. So he started offering to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, "What are you doing? I'm right here. I'm present." So that means when Krishna is present himself, then we don't need to do the impersonalist.
Yes.
Just go to the personalist.
Okay.
Krishna is present right here.
Okay, very good
example I'm giving. Yeah.
Thank you. Very nice story. So you heard the story? I mean, okay, so you understand.
But I missed a few points.
Okay, so the story is, so Prabhupada was in the train and then with his disciples, and then they stopped on a train station. There were people outside in India, they make samosas just right there. So Prabhupada said, go and bring some samosas. And then they went, they brought the samosas, and then, but now the samosa is boga, it has to be offered. So how do you offer? You take out the altar, they carry this small altar, and then start offering to the altar. But who is on the altar? The altar is Prabhupada, picture of Prabhupada. So Prabhupada's point was, I'm personally sitting here in the train, so instead of you putting my picture, you can just offer to me. Through me, you can offer to Krishna, and then this will be, and then Bhagavad-gita Prabhu's point was that if Krishna is personally present and his soul is personally present, if there is a devotion to invoke his personal presence, then we don't need to go through this indirect, impersonal feature of the world. Yes.
So this is just a question. If you offer something, like if you're offering something, do you offer to Krishna in your mind, or do you offer to your guru in your mind? You know, or are they one in it? You know, or is it the same to you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
Is there a differentiation in how you?
Yeah, we offer it to Krishna through the via media of our guru.
Yeah.
So we are conscious about both. We're conscious of Krishna, but we're also conscious that, so it is at the same time direct service to Krishna, but it is always through the mercy of our superior leaders, the guru and the senior devotees. but doesn't mean that it is not direct service. So sometimes we think, oh, because there are so many gurus and Guru Parampara, etc., I cannot do any direct service. No, it is direct service, like you can go on the altar of Radha Govinda and directly worship Radha Govinda. But it's always the picture of the Guru is there. So you always beg for his mercy, and then through his mercy, you can directly worship the Lord. Okay, so
Mataji Jara, do you want to say something?
There was a verse that you had mentioned, and I can't remember if it's is it 7.24 that you were saying that for impersonal to defeat an impersonalist, you take this verse.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's good. That was the verse I was referring to.
You were referring to, okay. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so now Krishna will answer this question. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. So this settles it for eternity. The highest authority has been asked very clear question, and he gave unequivocal answer. So in future, this is like something similar to a precedent in court. So we can always refer to this. Whenever somebody asks this question, we can always say, well, this question was actually asked many thousands of years ago by the greatest devotee, Arjuna, and he asked the greatest authority, who happened to be his friend, Krishna. And this question has been answered very clearly, and this is the answer. No need of further speculation on the topic. So then, in verses 3 to 5, Krishna describes the indirect and difficult process followed by the impersonalists. Who wants to read verses 3 through 5, 3, 4, and 5? The Lord continued, but those who fully worshipped and manifested, yeah.
Maybe Mataji Jara can read, if you like.
Sorry, say again, which verses would you like me to read?
3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5. Right, let's see.
Three and four are together, Mataji. So
Okay. But those, do you want me to just do the translation or?
Yes.
Okay. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, conceivable, the inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immobile, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Text 5. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Thank you. So then, the impersonal part, do we have something from the purpose to read?
Yeah, 5th.
Okay, so maybe Tusi would like to read something.
We can go a little bit in depth in the purport to verse 5. There are a few important points, but generally what Krishna is saying here is that those who are attached to worship the impersonal, they can also achieve him. But the problem is that their practice and their path will not be as easy as the personal path for advancement. So in the first paragraph, on the 5th line, Srila Prabhupada writes,
Which text?
It's text 5.
Text 3.
5. The first paragraph. Line
Okay.
5. Now here the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is definitely expressed. The process of Jnana Yoga, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, is very troublesome. Whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and is natural for the conditioned soul. So it's much easier and more natural. Why it's natural? Srila Prabhupada says, the individual soul is embodied since time immemorial. It is very difficult for him to simply theoretically understand that he is not the body. Therefore, the Bhakti Yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind, which can thus be applied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be saguna or nirguna. You can remember these terms, dear devotees, saguna and nirguna, of the Supreme possessing or non-possessing attributes. Guna means quality, sa means with, and nir means without. So the Supreme with qualities or without qualities. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship. For the Lord is represented by material qualities. But the form of the Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, oil, paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. And now Srila Prabhupada is giving very nice example. A crude example may be given here. We may find some mail boxes on the street, and if we post our letters in those boxes, they'll naturally go to their destination without difficulty. But any old box or an imagination which we may find somewhere, but which is not authorized by the post office, will not do the work. Similarly, God has an authorized representation in the deity form, which is called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. God will accept service through that form. The Lord is omnipotent, all-powerful. Therefore, his incarnation as Archa Vigraha, therefore, by his incarnation as Archa Vigraha, he can accept the services of the devotee just to make it convenient for the man in conditional life. So, we as devotees, someone may argue and say, but you're worshipping idols because this is just some object made from stone or metal or clay, and now you decide in your mind that this is God, but this is not God. So Srila Prabhupada is giving very nice example to explain this point. It's just like authorized post mail, authorized post box. You put your letter, it will go to the right place. So in the same way, this form of the Lord, although made from material elements, is authorized, and Krishna will accept through this form everything that you offer. So it's not an idol worship. Idol worship means you worship something which is not God, you make it God. Let's say in the Bible it was given. In the Bible it was given. Dear devotees, we are getting a signal that after 10 minutes our meeting will be finished. So then we'll re-enter again. Huh?
Yeah, I know. This is the temporary.
Yes, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Just today
we'll do.
Go in this way. So anyway, the point is, like in the Bible, it is given example that they made a golden calf, and they were worshiping this golden calf as God. But we don't have this idea to make something which is not God, God. Rather, our idea is we are following what the scriptures are saying can be a material representation of God. And we take this one and we worship it. So there is a difference. It's not the same.
But when I heard that in the Christian consciousness, I also feel like because the cow is worshipable in Christian consciousness.
Yes.
Well, you know, so I feel like it might have been some kind of Christian consciousness that got, you know, like it might.
Cow is worshipable,
yeah,
people are worshipable, entities are worshipable, but they're not God. Like you can show your respect to many personalities, but you worship one personality, and this is the Supreme Lord. That's our philosophy. So we may appreciate many, many different representations of God, many manifestations of God, but we will worship one. And this is the supreme manifestation of God in the form of Krishna or his direct incarnation. Bhagavan, yes.
Yeah, I have one question. I'm not sure is that the right platform to ask. I'm just, first of all.
Is it connected with the topic?
Okay. The topic is.
No, is it connected to our topic at the moment?
Yeah, kind of, but.
So do you want?
It's a little bit out of that, but it is connected.
Can you remember it?
In some point.
Then we can discuss it at the end. Is that okay? Or
definitely. Sure. Thank you.
Because we are pressed a little bit by time today, so let's just finish with the.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you.
With the main job, and then we can deal also with these things. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And then at the end of the same purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, this is the last paragraph in the middle. Srila Prabhupada is saying, at that time, long practice in impersonalism also becomes a source of trouble because he cannot give up the idea. Therefore, an embodied soul is always in difficulty with the unmanifested, both at the time of practice and at the time of realization. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that when we want to practice in this impersonal way, it's difficult. And then someone may achieve perfection and wants to transfer himself into the personal practice, bhakti yoga, but because for such a long time he was engaged in impersonal practices and activities, now for him it's so difficult. Now for him it's so difficult to change his mentality, his perception of the world. So these are a few important points.
Prabhuji, this Zoom link was not, I didn't find later on. Can you repaste that Zoom link again? Because if you...
Yes. I will, but the Zoom link...
I was trying to copy, I didn't find it.
Oh, the Zoom link is in the WhatsApp group. Huh? The Zoom link, it's in the WhatsApp group. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Somehow I didn't find it. Try again. Let's see.
I will post it again, no problem.
Okay. So the impersonal path is inferior to the personal because those who follow the impersonal path are in a state of suffering, actually, because this path is unnatural. Why it is unnatural? Because it attempts to superficially separate the senses from the sense objects in a superficial way. The path of bhakti yoga, it is natural and easy because we don't just deny the sense objects, but we engage the senses and the sense objects in service of Krishna. In other words, for example, we don't deny tasty food stuff, but we offer nice food to Krishna and then we partake in the prasadam. So in this way, we don't have to follow superficial unnatural rules, and also human emotions in the impersonal path are completely denied because they are considered Maya, illusion. The devotees engage these emotions in Krishna, in Krishna's devotees, etc., etc. So, therefore, this impersonal path is very difficult. Krishna says it's always troublesome. So, after much trouble, the impersonalists attain Krishna. Krishna says they attain me, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that in this verse 4, Krishna says they achieve me because Brahman is non-different from him. So actually they attain only the impersonal Brahman because they don't want anything else. Oh, yeah. They want to attain liberation. And of course, the impersonalists can become devotees. They can access this higher realm of spiritual advancement, devotional service. But this is possible only when they approach the Lord through the medium of a pure devotee. When they get the association of pure devotees, then they can become devotees also. Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport to verses 33 and 4. Okay. Those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead, Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process. Did we read this? Yes? Okay. So we read this. We're not going to repeat it. So the spiritual advancement of the impersonalists is possible because they accept that Krishna's body is transcendental. When they accept that Krishna's body is transcendental and spiritual and not material, as they usually do, then they can proceed further. If they think that Krishna's body is material, then Krishna says, Avajnanti mam muda manushim tanamashritam. Krishna calls them fools.
So if they perform offenses,
if they've committed
by
offenses,
thinking that Krishna is material, they cannot do that.
Yes. So in other words, the Mayavadis never attain liberation because they offend the Lord. You cannot get out of the prison house if you offend the authority. So the impersonalists can attain liberation, but the Brahmavadis, those amongst the impersonalists who are not offensive, they can attain liberation, although it will be difficult, but they have to perform some type of devotional service. Their attempt for jnana, for liberation, must be mixed little bit, at least little bit with bhakti. And then they can attain liberation, because Krishna gives ultimately all the results from all spiritual practices. Okay, so now we'll stop here and we'll try to rejoin you again in very near future.
In the spiritual world, after 1 minute or so. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.